number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Patrick Cristiano, your host, the publisher of TheaterLife.com, a website for theater buffs in New York City covering Broadway and off-Broadway theater. And I'm coming to you from the LTV studio where I have a really special guest, the artist Mickey Paraskevas. Mickey Paraskevas. I said it wrong after all the practice.
You had it after all that practice. You got it.
No, I knew how to say your name. It's because
you did know how to say my name,
yes.
Which is rare.
But we love your work. Let's start there, okay? And you're a really cool, fun artist to talk to. Thank you so much for coming. It's my pleasure. I'm really excited to have you, actually.
It's good to see you. It's nice to be here. I haven't been here at LTV in a while. You've really got a lot of stuff going on here.
Well, you've been a fixture here for many years. I just found out you had a puppet show that I never even knew about.
Everybody knew about the puppet show. I did well, we'll go into the puppet show later, but
let's not talk. I just want to before we let me go all over the place. You have a show coming up that we want to talk about specifically. Yes. Besides, you have a new book out, which is here, Paint Your World.
Paint Your World. So we decided to call the show. It's going to go up at the old. I call it the Old Parish, which is they don't like me to call it that, but it's the easiest thing for me to say. It's going to be at the Old Parish Art Museum. It's called the Southampton Arts Center. And
today it's
now it's called the Southampton Arts Center.
And your show opens September 21st?
It opens September 21st.
And it's a retrospective.
Of 40 years of stuff.
Wow, that's terrific.
So it's sketches, animation, video, sketchbooks, paintings, new paintings, old paintings, book illustrations, illustrations from magazines, a lot of stuff. One of the great things we did was when Amy Kerwin and Tom Dunn, I called them up about this, and I said, look, I've been out here for 40 years, and I can't think of a better place. I need a big space to mount a big show. And I said,
how many square feet altogether you think?
It's a big space. It's a lot of, it's probably 120, I culled it down to 120 pieces of paintings of art. I went 100, we had 200. I said, we have to get rid of stuff. There's too much stuff. So it's big. There's four big rooms. There's an entrance hall, there's a big main hall, there's a middle hall, and there's a big giant hall in the back. And if you've been in the parish, it's the whole Parish Art Museum. So a lot of space to fill. But I got, I don't know. It's 40 years of work. I got a lot of paintings.
You know what I think we should, guys, can you help me out? Because I was going to talk about the book first, and I want to jump ahead and show the pictures from the show first and change hands. So let's see. I'd love to just cut, because some people might not be familiar with your work.
That's
and
true.
We're talking on like everybody knows who you are. So let's show them what you do to get things started. Can we go to the pictures from the show instead of the book first? Can you do that? Wonderful. So tell us
this is one of the newer ones. This is from, I went to Iowa on a trip with my wife. We were doing research for a book. We were going to write a book about a farm, and she said we should insist we go to Iowa. That was obviously.
Go back to the first picture again.
Go back to the Iowa painting. There we go. That's Iowa. We liked Iowa. It was a great.
Why do you keep going to this one for? We want to stay on Iowa.
This was a nice. Iowa was kind of like, I called it the Hamptons in 1940. There's nothing there. So you're not missing anything in Iowa. There's just nothing there. But it was really interesting. The skies were beautiful. The roads were just empty. And in doing research for the book, I ended up with probably, 30 paintings of Iowa, some of which are going to be in the show.
Because these paintings that you just showed, that was such a departure from what I
It was a big departure
from what I normally know. Yeah. I normally know you for the beach scenes,
right.
That you populated dance paper. How many covers of dance papers have you had in the years?
We tried to count them. We stopped at 100. So it's over. I did over 100 covers.
Beginning from when?
Beginning from 1988.
Did you know Candace Lee?
Oh yes.
Was she one of the first people to get you on the cover?
No, well, Dan did, really. I mean, it was really Dan. Mm-hmm. But that crew, I knew Dan before we'd met. He'd been in town, and we sort of knew each other. Because I did 5 years, I was Hamptons Magazine, back in the day when Hamptons Magazine used to be a great magazine. It's still good, but right now, back in the day, it was a really interesting. They had a great editor. And they did and so they hired me to be their illustrator for
Hamptons Magazine?
Hamptons Magazine, when it was like a newspaper. And I did 5 summers there, and I did a lot of drawings. And one day I get this call, and it's Dan on the phone, and he says, Mickey, it's Dan Ratiner. I said, oh, hi, Dan. We sort of known each other. And he said,
but you didn't know him really well at this
Not
point.
really well. We sort of knew each other because of the business. And he said, would you like to have lunch with me? And I said, oh, sure. Okay. And we go to Bobby Van's, and I sit down, and he goes right into it, and he says, you know what, it was 1988, and he said, we beefed up the paper, we're a new owner, we've changed some things. I want to hire you to do my cartoons. I want you to draw the cartoon for my stories. And I said, don't you want to do your cartoons anymore? And he said, no, I really just want to write.
Was he doing his cartoons at that time?
Yeah, he was doing his cartoons, because he's kind of a cartoonist. He has a great style. And I said, you're never going to do a cartoon again? And he said, well, no. He said, I really want to write, and once in a while I'll do a cartoon, but I really want you to be the cartoonist for the paper. I said, is it a paycheck every week? And he said, yes. And he said, and it was all year. His Hamptons magazine at the time was only running in the summer. So I was, in 1988, I said it was a no-brainer. And I said, I'm fine. I'm your artist. I'll do it. And Hamptons magazine got very mad at me. That was another story. But so I've been at Dan's for 31 years. This has been 31 years with Dan's. And I do 2 or 3 cartoons a week. And I'll do 5 covers a year, maybe sometimes more.
Well, it was the covers of Dan's that first
That's what
gave me
people really
the
saw.
entree into your work and who you were, and I did the studios.
And I used to do these beach paintings because
Yeah.
I came out here and I said in the Hamptons, I said, oh, I'll do paint.
But they're so much fun. They're so
They're a lot of
upbeat.
fun.
You have a wonderful, frivolous sense of humor that's captured in them. I
did
see your
these-
work, I just smile all the time.
I did these big beach paintings, all these people and the beach balls and the dogs and I just got to a point about a while back. I was always illustrating magazines. I was doing a lot of magazine work. I was painting beach pictures. I was doing dance cartoons. I have, people look at my work and they say, you're kind of like, you have a lot of different things. I do cartoons, I do paintings, I do beach paintings. I don't look at it that way. I just look at it as there's different topics that lend themselves to different things. I've always painted. I've always done sketchbook work. I do a lot of sketchbooks. I always draw when I go places, and I go to events, I go to baseball games, and I sit and I draw.
So you brought a sketchbook?
I
with
did.
you?
I brought one of the books. This is from. I don't even know if the cameras are going to pick that up.
No, probably they won't zoom in, but let me.
They won't zoom in. But this is the
Let me
this is
just
the
see
kind of book I do, and I do these like sketchbooks. I'll hit them with color later on, and they go on my shelf, and
Wow.
I save them.
You guys, can you come see this at
We're
all?
doing a
If
video.
you put my camera on, can you see this? Oh, that's pretty good. They could see that pretty good. This is just from his sketchbook. I just want to. You're doing a video on your sketchbook?
Yeah, we're going to make this probably 50, 60, 80.
I'm just going to flip through this because our time is going to go fast.
I
I'm
know, it's
watching,
okay.
and I want to get back to the pictures that we were talking about. So let's go
Oh,
back
so we
to.
were in Iowa. So I've done a lot of different things. And when Iowa
what
Iowa
was the
presented
one
stuff.
before this? We skipped those other one. That one. What's this?
Oh, this was based sort of. This was a book my mother and I did. My mother and
go
I
back
always
to that.
worked.
Is this?
These are called Shamlanders.
No, is this
They're
a
kind of-
painting?
No, these are sculptures.
That's what I thought.
These are big mannequins.
And they're
I've
standing
always
in the
wanted
room.
to make these masks. This has been in my head for about 20 years. And I said for this retrospective show, I said I used to paint these guys. I used to paint pictures like this.
So are these life-size like they look?
These are life-size mannequins. There's only 5 of them. So this is
And what are they made out of?
they're mannequin. I went and bought mannequins.
Okay, and then you painted
I
them.
painted the mannequins,
and then you
I
made.
built the heads out of plaster
Okay,
and
okay,
paper
okay.
mache.
And what's the paint? What kind of acrylic or oil?
It's acrylic on, it's acrylic.
Go back to them one more time. I think they're outrageous, fabulous.
They're really a lot of fun.
And then they're going to be in the show too.
Yeah,
All-
they were at dinner with us for Easter dinner.
Will all of
I
these
called them the
mannequins be in the
girls.
show?
Yes, I call them the girls.
The girls will be there then.
Yes, our Easter dinner was very strange this year.
You had
They
no.
took me.
You had.
It's funny because when you paint, I can paint and I can do. I work rather
Take them down.
quickly. I work rather quickly, and I can paint a picture and paint and draw and do stuff. But these things took forever. Maria, my wife, who said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to figure out how to make this. I didn't know how to make paper mache."
Did you know you were going to have them for Thanksgiving?
No.
Because you could have made them seated, you know.
I could have sat. Yeah, I could have had seated mannequins. Would have been funny, right? But, I want to make more. When I get around, I'll make more. I did 5. That was my. I said I'll make 5 of them. It'll be fun.
Okay, let's get. What's the next painting? I'm sorry, we won't get to show all your paintings. if we
This
keep
was a
talking.
painting.
I
My
love
wife
this.
loves this painting.
Back to you. Go too fast.
My wife loves this painting.
What?
She came to me and she said, "Why don't you do this painting with the?" She know I like the ocean and the sea, and she said, "Why don't you do these scuba divers kind of like falling through the sky?" And I said, oh, that's a good idea. She wanted she titled it, it was called Falling in Love
How
with
big
the
is
Sea.
it?
It's a big painting.
There's a large one too?
It's 4 by 6 feet,
Okay,
which
fabulous.
is about as big as I work. I don't really work much bigger than that.
You mean much smaller?
Well, much smaller.
I have a smaller one.
Yeah, you have a smaller painting. But some of the beach paintings are, this is an old painting from like about 1987. This will be on the show. This is a whole train series I did. These
What
are
year?
oils. This is about 86, 87.
There was a poster train series I remember. This is cool.
Yeah, I like the trains. I like trains. I still like trains. Trains are cool. This is a neat painting. I did this this was in my studio for years. I did a painting of it. Instead of doing planes, instead of doing trains, I did jets. So I did this giant jet, and I never finished the painting. And the bottom half of the painting, where In-N-Out Burger was empty. And it was a blank canvas. And people used to come in the studio and say, oh my God, what a great painting. I said, what an interesting picture. And I said, it's not finished. And they said, yes, it is. It's just got a big blank section on the bottom. It was kind of abstract. And I said, no, I'll have to finish it one day. So I was in LA one day, and I saw this big In-N-Out Burger sign, and I smacked my head, and I said, oh my God, I don't know how to finish the painting. And people said, why is that there? And I said, it's just...
It's just your personality.
My personality. I just thought it worked great. This is the kind of stuff that's going to be in the show at the museum. This is a storyboard from Tangerine Bear, which was a script my mother wrote, a book we did together. I worked with my mother for years.
How many books do you have?
We did, Mom and I did 23 books, kids' books. And this was one called Tangerine Bear. And she wrote the script it was an ABC Christmas special.
Oh.
And this is they still run this. It's always on. You can always find it somewhere. And there's my friend again.
Okay.
This is my favorite one. I love this one.
Does this girl have a name?
No, I'm going to surprise everybody with names.
Are you going to name them?
We didn't do names yet. We're going to name them. We didn't name them yet. The only one we have named is called, no, I don't want to name it.
All right.
At the show, we're going to name it.
Now, is this Iowa again?
This is Iowa, but that's my new cat. That's Valentine. It's called Cat Dawn.
Called what?
Cat Dawn. I thought the cat needed to be there.
Okay.
I think sometimes, it's funny about paintings. Now, people love to talk about.
Wait, take it down while he talks about what's funny about paintings.
People.
Go ahead.
Artists, people like to talk. You communicate with people by just doing what we're doing now. We just sit and we talk.
Right.
But sometimes you just really want to look at something, and the painting really has to speak for itself. So people say to me, well, would you like to talk about your painting? And I said, listen, if I wanted to talk about my painting, I'd write a book. I want you to look at the painting, and you can think about it. But I don't, sometimes it's hard. I used to listen to artists discuss their work, and I really wanted to say to them, why don't you just shut up? I just want to look at the painting. Don't listen. I don't want to hear a big long explanation about it. I just want to you want to experience the painting. It's a visual thing.
All right. So
I think the Iowa painting. That painting, the cat painting is the same thing. Why is the cat there? I said, I don't know.
All right. Let's experience the rest because we don't have much time. Then we're going to have to experience them quickly now. Okay. Let's get through these.
This is from the pie book you said you liked.
Oh, okay. So wait. Take it down because this is from the pie book. Go take it back up. This is going to be a funny show. I just want to set this up because there's another book that he wrote called A Big Slice of Pie.
Big Slice of Pie.
I love that title. I think it's hysterical.
Because everybody likes pie.
And who doesn't like pie?
Who doesn't like pie?
And you had a subtitle to the book. What was it?
Oh no, it was who does? On the back it was everybody wants another slice of pie.
Okay. So great. So let's see that's a picture from that book, A Big Slice of Pie.
So this is from The Big Slice of Pie. This is a touch of lemon for a bit of zest. This little kid makes this big giant pie because he runs out of pie, so he has to make a big pie, and he makes a pie as big as the moon. And we did this book. I had this book in sketch form.
Okay.
And I was showing it to publishers.
Will that be at the show too?
Yeah, we'll have it there. I was showing it. We'll have artwork from the book, and I worked digitally on this book. I did all the paintings on the computer.
Is this from what's this from?
This is from the pie book.
Okay.
This is. I guess they ate the pie. There's no pie left.
Keep going. Let's get through the pictures and then tell us.
This is good old Iowa again. This is one of my favorite.
They have a lake in Iowa that's considered the Hamptons of Iowa. Did you know that?
I missed that section.
Did you know that it existed
no, I
though?
didn't
Because Marilyn May just went out there and performed 2 shows. That's how I heard. I just heard about this just recently. Yeah.
It's an interesting state. I went to an area where there was literally nothing there. The town was 400 people. The diner was. $4.99 for eggs, bacon, sausage, and coffee, and very just cheap. And then the people are nice, but they can't wait for you to leave. Lovely people, lovely. But as soon as
is this more Iowa?
More Iowa. This is back on.
I'm going to make you stay with the pictures. We have to experience them quickly.
This is Lamont, Iowa.
Because we have the other book.
This is a cover for Dan's. This was one of my more, silly paintings. This is for the Rose Soiree. They always ask me to do this painting of every Memorial Day now. This is my new gig.
When did you do this one?
This was from last year's.
Okay.
And now this is from the new book. This is from...
Okay, so we want to hold these? Just hold these for a minute. We're going to... Okay, just stop.
This is from the new Paint Your World book that will be on sale at the museum. And as you can see, if you know the Parish Art Museum, this is the room at the Parish Art Museum. And this is a book about Priscilla the cow, who's a bored cow, very bored, and with life. And she finds some old paint buckets in a barn, and she decides she's going to paint with her tail. And the other cows laugh at her, but she's persistent. And
take the painting down while he's telling the story.
She paints the side of the barn.
Now, where'd you get the idea for the story?
My mother-in-law has a farm, and she has...
Where's her farm?
In Manorville. And she has a big field behind her house that she rented out to a cow farmer, and there were cows out there. And every day we would go see the cows. Well, they're grass-fed beef cows, but they're nice cows. And we'd wave to them, and the cows would moo. And I said to my wife, I said, I got an idea for a book. I think we should do a book about a cow. So we named the cow Priscilla. I named the cow Priscilla after my wonderful mother-in-law. Priscilla, that's her name. So that's really where it came from. It came about a book about...
Go on, tell the rest of the story. So the cow's painting with his tail?
The cow paints with her tail, and she's just persistent, and the other cows laugh at her. And it's kind of like Field of Dreams, because she paints a big mural on the side of the wall, and then she gets a show in this museum, and that was the museum show. That's she sticks to what she wants to do, and she finds something meaningful out of life. She makes her life meaningful by her painting. I mean, that was really kind of...
So your book has a meaning too.
Yeah. You try. Huh? I don't really set out. I think you can't really set out to do, if you come out with some kind of like big, moment that you want to, I want to hammer this home. That never really works.
No,
I think do what you like, and then somehow.
But it's more than doing what you like. It's really holding a mirror for the world to see itself. Because what you basically did is you took a reflection of the world, and you just added a new element to it. If they had feelings, and created something out of what was real to begin with and was recognizable, that it had a message, was part of who you are.
I like
as your message.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah, I'll be your PR person if you like.
Very good. So those paintings from the book are going to be at the show. That's the new book, and we kind of did it for them. But the pie book was why it came about. Was I had a sketchbook of it. I had it on my Kindle, and I showed it to a friend of mine who owns a bakery, and it came about because he owns a bakery. But I like making pies. I always made pies. So I said, I'll do a book about a kid making a pie.
What's your favorite kind of pie?
Cherry, but they're very tricky.
There's my favorite.
Cherry pies are very tricky. I've had
common.
some of the worst cherry pie. Cherry pie is very tricky to make. Anyway, so I always wanted to make a book.
Does anybody make a cherry pie that you go by, that you like?
No, I make a very good cherry pie.
You do?
Yeah.
Aha.
I've only made 2 in my whole life, but both of them have been stellar pies. And the first one I made was so good. We said, let's never make another one.
I know that feeling.
It'll never work. I'll never. What's that song? I'll never get that recipe again. It'll never work. My recipes are horrible. I just kind of throw it all together. So. Coming off the track.
I'm sorry.
So no, the pie. No. I was showing it to a friend of ours who owns a bakery in Santa Mauritius, Nettie's Bakery, and he said, when are you going to publish the book? And I said, I don't know, we don't have a publisher for it. She said, let's just do it. I said, what do you mean? He said, just print the book, we'll sell the book in the bakery. So we did. We combined forces, and I did the book with the bakery, and we sell the book in the bakery.
And is it still?
It's still in the bakery.
So it hasn't sold out yet?
I don't have that many copies. I have some copies left.
Okay.
It's around. I mean, I have it, but it's not really in bookstores. It's just at the bakery.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, it's just at the bakery. It was like a point of
bakery.
Purchase. It's at Nettie's Bakery in Santa Mauritius on Railroad Avenue. Wonderful bakery. I'll give them a plug. Good friends of ours. But it was kind of I was telling you before, I think we got sidetracked, was publishing has changed. I think publishing has gotten, it's so easy to self-publish a book these days.
Yeah, people doing, so many people are doing it. It's amazing.
But a lot of people do it. I don't think they do it right. And they self-publish these books, and they don't really have, like, what was great about editors is that you needed like gatekeepers, and there was some kind of a filter that you need some help. And I think some people
don't you think we all need a filter?
Yeah, I mean, But I think the book, I've done 23 books. I knew enough about art directing that I could handle art directing the book. I think a lot of people don't really understand the art directing process. They don't understand design. They throw it together. They do a bad cover. It's kind of, and it ends up, you go, self-published book. Oh, hey, it's nice, but it looks self-published.
Has one red flag.
One red. So you've got to kind of, fix that if you want to self-publish a book, that you can. And you have to find. I think we've done this book basically. We did self-pub. We did 2 books like that.
But you just have to be very, very careful and specific.
You have to be careful.
And specific.
And you have to overdo. You don't go print. If you're going to self-publish your book, I mean, my advice is you don't print 15,000 copies of it.
Right.
But that's the beauty part of the self-publishing today is you really don't have to print that many copies of it, and they have beautiful.
How many did you print of your?
The Pie we did 1,000, and then this book we did the same. So it's not a lot of copies, but it's there. My idea was always that we were going to take the Pie book and we're working on it as a television show. We're trying to figure out how to do an animated series out of it because we've done.
You may do that yet.
I've done a lot of. I keep talking here. I've done a lot of stuff. My mother and I did 3 TV shows. We did a show for Nickelodeon. We did a show for PBS. We did a great show called Marvin the Tap Dancing Horse.
Great title.
Great title. It was a great title, and Marvin was very successful. And then we did another show for Fox Family, which was called Kids from Room 402, which was like signed. We pitched it.
Kids from what?
It was called Kids from Room 402.
What was 402?
It was the room. It was just the room they were in.
I said you just made it up. It didn't reference anything.
It didn't reference anything. It was a sitcom about these kids in this in like a 3rd grade, 2nd grade class, and they were as neurotic as.
How many episodes?
Oh, that was 52 episodes.
What year?
It ran like 1999, 2000, and 2001.
I didn't know about
that. Well, you know what it was on? It was on Fox Family. It was on a Fox Family Kids channel. And
so was it
on a channel that still people
was
didn't
obscure.
Watch. It was slightly obscure, but it was very popular in Canada. It was very good in Canada. It was on here. Marvin was very popular. I used to get people.
You don't need to be popular to get to connect.
Well, no. I think the show that made the most impact on people's lives was Maggie and the Ferocious Beast. The Maggie show was on Nickelodeon, Nick Jr., and people really saw that show.
And when did you write that?
That was, my mom wrote that in 99, 2000, 2001. There's 39 half hours, and they're still on. You can still find Maggie is on YouTube, and it's on, the Treehouse. That's called.
What's her name?
It's on a Canadian channel.
Maggie.
It's called Maggie and the Ferocious Beast.
And that's
the most popular show. I think that would really. That's if you know your kids stuff. You gotta watch.
I don't.
You gotta get out of Broadway. You gotta watch kids television.
Kids stuff. I never wanted kids, so I don't know much about kids stuff. It was like dogs about my limits, because you don't have to pay for college.
So it's no. That was really and my mother. Again, we wrote a book, about the ferocious beast and this pig, and then we pitched it to Nick, and they bought it as a show, and she was good. My mother was really good at writing books. She was very good at story.
So you think you
I learned a lot from her.
That's just where I was going. And do you think it was almost like osmosis?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot, because I didn't write when I was with her. I really was, as people used to say to me, oh, you just do the drawings. Because writers seem to get more credit than some artists do. But they say, oh, you just do the drawings. Your mother wrote the book. But my mother was very good at telling story. And what she really shined at, this was the big thing about hers. When she had the opportunity to write the scripts for the Maggie show on Nickelodeon, then she was good. She was great at dialogue. She would sit down at a typewriter, and she wrote the greatest dialogue, and dialogue that a lot of people in the kids business would read and go, oh wow, that's amazing, because most dialogue in kids shows is awful. I mean, I'm just not saying. I
don't know enough.
It's not great. I don't think it's great.
I believe
think they
you.
really write a lot of stuff that's not that great. Mm-hmm. And my mother wrote these really fascinating little 7-minute stories. They were like little 7-minute
So what do you think
plays.
set it apart and made it special?
It was just her background. I think her whole background.
I mean, about her
growing up, about her, that her whole background.
So she made it personal.
I think she made it personal in a way, but turned it into a show. Her whole kind of like view of kids and the simplicity of life and the bickering between friends. And one time she wrote the script with a character.
So she made it a personal and a real.
It was very
real
but
reflection.
what was personal about the show was that the characters were so personal to her, and that it showed in the show that when you watch the final run of it, they're so real It's just not a cartoon, and you can enjoy watching it because parents came up to us and said, "Oh, I love that show. You got my kid loves it just because it's a visual show." But they said that show is really funny, and it was their relationships between each other. It was a little pig, a little girl, and then the ferocious beast, and it was their dynamic between the three of them. It was really funny, and they would bicker. Like they would the beast would bicker with the pig about little small stuff. And the Nickelodeon called up one time and said, Betty, they're fighting a lot. And she goes, people fight, people argue, kids argue all the time. I think they understand that, and they always kind of resolve themselves in the end, but there always has to be some kind of a conflict. Yeah, it doesn't escalate into craziness, but I mean, it was just like little snippets of conversation. But we had a lot. Nickelodeon was great. Listen, they were...
I can't wait to see it.
I'm telling you, watch it. So you can watch it. You can still watch it. You can watch Nickelodeon. You can watch it it's on. They run, Treehouse owns it's the Nelvana company has it, and it's run, if you look it up on YouTube, they run it on something called Treehouse. You can watch, they have all the episodes there, and they're all in beautiful color and 4K.
So everybody, we only have a minute left, believe it or not.
That's it?
That's it. So you have to get out to see Mickey's show at the Southampton Arts Center, which is formerly the parish, and on Job's Lane.
September 21st.
September 21st.
5 to 8.
But how long is it running, the show?
It's up till November 10th.
November 10th.
But come to the opening night, it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, and you can imagine seeing all that stuff. I hope I can make it.
There's a lot of big surprises.
Yes.
Including the mannequins.
What day is September 21st?
It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
You better be there.
Okay. Barry,
That's it. I thought I had a lot of stuff prepared.
We got 25 seconds. What do you want to say? Come on.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
It was so much fun. I had a ball. I hope you did too.
Yes.
We got 15 seconds. Yeah.
Oh, we can discuss another television show. I'm always working on new stuff, so that's the
well, if you need anybody for voiceovers, I'm terrific.
That's the fun part about being an artist. But we'll do the puppet show again.
Oh, I wanted to talk about that a little bit, but oh well.
Oh well, another show.